Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where today is a day that I know a lot of you have been waiting for. I've certainly been talking about it for far too long, but it is finally time to send my American Shmeemobile, the Shelby GT500, to the UK. I bought this car about a year and a half ago out here. In fact, I took delivery of it back then, 18 months ago, right where we are now at Ikonick the Collection, the home of Barry Skolnick's car collection, but also now a new venture between Barry and DuPont Registry. Since then, the GT500, well, we've driven it coast to coast, all the way to Los Angeles. We've taken it on the Gumball 3000. I've done over 12,000 miles of driving with it, had quite the adventures, so many stories, so many videos, but I always said eventually I was going to take it to the United Kingdom, to the Shmuseum, to have it in my collection alongside my Ford GT, my Ford Focus RS Heritage Edition, and all of the other Shmeemobiles, and it's finally time to get that process started. Now, of course, it is not simple. There's a lot that we need to do. A few things we need to prepare today, like getting it cleaned up, fully emptied, all of the documentation, before dropping it off later on today to say farewell for the time being, because the next time that I see it is going to be in England. That's a little bit crazy, but first, before we get to any of that, let's have a quick run over the car before we're going to head inside here at Ikonick, because believe me, there's some pretty special stuff to go and check out inside. Given we are currently in Miami, Florida, the end destination of the Gumball 3000, and it is summer, it is very hot and very, very humid. And yes, being British, we always have to talk about the weather, but the weather is going to be something that changes for the future of this car as it comes over to Great Britain. Now, as part of this process to export the car from the US and to import it into the United Kingdom and to Europe, there are quite a few things that have to be done, both in advance and during the process to get it registered, some of which have been a bit of a surprise for me. It's quite the learning curve. So to drop it off today, there are a few things you might be wondering about, and the first of those is to do with the livery. It's still got all of the Gumball 3000 stickers all over it, all of the sponsors, Team 150, the Gumball 3000 roundel, but you can actually keep those on, and I figured for a bit of fun I'm going to take it to the UK looking like that. They will come off shortly thereafter, but certainly for the time being, how cool will it be to have this car as I drove it on the Gumball all the way from Toronto to Miami when I get it over to the Shmuseum. Now, in terms of the looks, one thing I do need to change is to do with the registration plate. Now, this is my UK plate that will eventually go onto the car, SH67MEE, 67 because the first model Shelby GT500 was back in 1967, and it will fit very nicely with the GT, which is 66, and my Heritage Focus RS, which is 68. But because that's a UK plate, which is fine for show here in Florida because you don't need to have a front plate, it will be a bit confusing to the customs guys when it arrives in the UK if it's got a UK plate on it. So that needs to come off, as does the tag on the rear, because the way it works with American tags is that they actually transfer to future cars to do with the tax and that kind of thing. So I want to keep that out here for the next car that I might own out here in the future. We have to get it cleaned up though. It is completely covered in bugs. It hasn't been washed since we were in Toronto, so we've got lots of bugs. The wheels are looking a pretty dirty grey. One of the things that can happen actually, if your car is too dirty, it can get rejected during customs because of agricultural reasons if it's got too much all over it. This shouldn't be too bad, but it's going to be sitting for a couple of months, so we're going to get all of that prepared and get it tidied up here at Ikonick. We also need to check out the fuel. At the moment, we've got just shy of half a tank, and you need to have less than an eighth of a tank for the transport. So I do actually need to drive it around and make a bit of noise and, yeah, just enjoy it for the last little touch as the plane goes right overhead, right above us. So we'll have to go for a little bit of a drive. Not the worst thing in the world at all, but one of the fun things about this is to be back here with the GT500 at Ikonick, where I originally took delivery of it. I found the car via Auto Tempest, having browsed through all the classifieds ads from all sorts of different websites. We took it to First Class Autosports to do the paint protection film with the SunTek Reaction, and we also did the SunTek Altered Black for the stripes over the top and the red pinstripe details as well. It is looking magnificent. I've loved the Grab-A-Line paintwork. The car to this day still looks great, to be honest, but we do need to pull it round to go and get it cleaned up. That might take a little while, and while that's being done, we'll go and check out inside. So yes, time to get everything ready to send this off to the United Kingdom. In here then, so let's start this. We definitely need AC, and when the fuel gauge comes on, we have just under half a tank. Now in this car, half a tank doesn't really get you very far, so it's not that much of a problem, but we do need to get that a little bit lower before I can fully park it up. We also need to empty everything like the cables and the mounts and the chargers and random bits of money and water bottles that we have lying around. But let us drive around to the other side and head in. This is a very familiar location then. I've filmed many a video here. In fact, in front of this very orange wall with the murals, we did quite a few photos of this. The green and the orange, the clash was perfect. I think we're going to be heading around just to take this to get a quick rinse. I'm not 100% sure where we are going to be going with it, but yeah, it'll be very helpful to get that done so that we've got one less thing to worry about. Here we are then. First time that my car has driven through. I love the combination of cars and artworks inside here. It's always so very, very special. But as we make our way through to the main room, prepare to have a little look over to the right and what we can see. An Essentia, there's a Sian, an STO. We'll come back to all of that in just a moment. Let's make our way through carefully. Oh, this is so cool. It's cool to be back here. It's been a while. We're going to have a proper look around in a moment. For now, we'll just pull it out here and get a little bit of the washing side of things done. This space is breathtaking. Each and every time to behold inside here is special. It's a new venture for DuPont Registry to offer the elevated customer experience that you see around, to see the cars presented in the most incredible ways, surrounded by all of the artworks. We've got the likes of the two AMG G63s, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and we're going to head down towards that end of the room, and believe me, it gets very special. Before we do though, we have a trio of cars here, fairly reminiscent of my garage, the AMG GT Black Series, the Lamborghini Huracan STO, and I want to draw attention also to this Ferrari SF90 Stradale, which is painted in Rosso Dino. Now, Rosso Dino is a much more orangey paint color than your typical Ferrari reds, the likes of Rosso Corsa, Rosso Scuderia, Rosso F1 2007, but it's certainly a color that I would consider for a future car that I might order from Maranello, so we'll see maybe if that suits something down the line. If we come this way though, honestly, it is mind-boggling to have a quick look around at the cars that currently surround me that we're going to be taking a look at, starting with this Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, one of the 900 coupes, which is actually paint matched. This color comes directly from the sole of a Louboutin shoe. Yes, the famous high heels with their red soles, that's the color of this Aventador SVJ. Now, if we come to the next car, I actually knew instantly this color, and it's quite fun, having recently been visiting my friend RM Collection up in New Jersey, where we took a look at his F12 TDF, which is actually painted in Porsche's Mexico blue. Well, this is the other way around. This is a Porsche painted in Ferrari's Rosso Fuoco. It's a multi-layer metallic red paint, a stunning color, and I think it suits this so well with the silver wheels, with the matching red brake calipers also. The level of detail about this car is just wonderful, and the smooth curves of the Carrera GT suit a color like this perfectly. It looks stunning. So that's here with DuPont Registry. If we come past to this side though, a very different take on a kind of Porsche is the Gunther Works. This is the Gunther Works 400R. It is the Puerto Rico Commission in the orange. I recently drove the Gunther Works, and it's quite a cool thing, it has to be said. But I want to come to these two, because these two to me just stand out a mile away. This is a Sian Roadster, and I think it might be the first ever Sian Roadster that I've taken a look at on the channel, because there are only 19 of them. There are 63 of the coupes. The reason behind that, by the way, 1963, Lamborghini as a company was founded back in 1963. So this is one of the 19 with the hybrid system with the 6.5 litre V12. It's based on the blue Cephas paint color, but with even more glitter and sparkle to it. Obviously the very bright interior and wheels that contrast against that, but the paint shining, glistening very, very nicely in here. That's just being stored at the moment, as is this car right alongside, one of the 40 Essentia SCV12s, which is Lamborghini's absolutely brutal race car, which we've seen a few times recently, but I want to show you inside something I had never seen before. So if I just open the door, because race car, you've got these very thin carbon fiber door skins, you have this parcel that is basically delivered to the customer with the car. And if I open this up and show you inside it, that's how you get the steering wheel, which I can just lift out. The steering wheel for the Essentia. How cool is this? With all of your settings, your switch gear, and the screen in the center. That is really very, very nice, and a big part of the customer experience, I think, with this car. The ultimate in track day toys, you could say, is the way that all of this is actually presented, with the cars obviously coming from Lamborghini's Squadra Corsa division in Sant'Agata Bolognese in Italy. Let me just close this down, make sure it's clicked back into place. So we've had a look here. We've been around Ikonick a few times before. Barry's collection of some resto mods and some American classics is tucked away back there. We're flanked by just amazing pieces up on the walls everywhere you look. The massive eagle that we have here in the center, for example, gigantic piece, but so cool to see. But I want to keep coming through, because as we make our way in this direction, there are some familiar cars, there are some new cars, but still presented in this magnificent venue. It's so cool just to see and to walk around and to be here. And obviously the GT Black series here is also in Magma Beam, which is the color that I've touched on for painting my C63 Black series. So that might be the direction we're heading. We then got the 720S, we've got the SV Roadster, we've got the P1, the F12, the F12 TDF. This room last time was filled with all of the Ferraris, but we're going to take a little sneaky shortcut here through to this side where things have changed a touch. We've got a lot to come and see, and it's very, very densely concentrated. Everything from the Roof CTR3, just here, the very car that I drove over in Germany once upon a time, to some of the Porsches, to the Maserati MC12 that I went out in with Barry, the Cerulean Blue P1, the Huayra. This place is just pure perfection. I mean, over on this side, the Porsche lineup, the 959, the CGT, the 918s. Over on this side, up top, you can probably just about make out the Ferrari Enzo that's up there above the F50. We've got the two LaFerraris, we've got the two Monzas, the new SF90 Assetto Fiorano Spider just here, the AMG 1 GT Black series. Come through this way. This is the Special Project 1 edition that they did for AMG 1 customers, with all of the painted stars on the Petronas style livery as well. And then it just, goes on from here. Next to that, we have the Senna GTR, which I went out on the road with Barry in last year, the Celine, Turbo S, the 812 GTS, another TDF. This is a cool place, and even DuPont Registry actually have the full 360 photo booth back there. That's something I would love to have at the Museum. That kind of thing would just be perfect for shooting cars, being able to slide around the walls. So yes, a pretty special place to be. Barry's private collection and this new venture with DuPont Registry and what they're up to in terms of the customer experience behind the whole purchase and sourcing of car side of things as well. Very cool stop. Let's go see how my car is getting on. This is a reverse of being in Toronto. I need to take off the Florida plate. We'll need to pop it back on to drive to the shipper, but we need to take it off for the moment so that I can get the UK plates off of here. Then when the UK plates are off of here, I'll pop those away somewhere. Maybe I'll just carry them back home, in fact, to avoid trouble. But obviously this will have to come off again later, because this needs to be left out here in the USA. But hey, not too complicated to make happen. Well, I have to say, this was easier than I expected. They both just popped off, thanks of course to the heat. But the car is being washed, with huge thanks to the guys here to get this ready, so we can continue onwards for the final leg. Just a couple more things I guess I need to tick off, and I need to work out exactly what I'm going to do with these. Probably need to get rid of all of the sticky pads and gunk off the back of them. We'll see. And then we'll make a plan and get on the road for the last drive. We've just been inside to do a little bit of the vacuuming and tidying up the inside of the car, but now we're going to get there minutes before everything closes. So let's go into my mode and manual, because we need to burn down some fuel, which is a very ironic problem to have, given normally when driving the GT500 we need to save as much as possible. So the fun of this is, the first night I actually owned this car, it was parked just in where we've just started the car up from. But a big thanks to everyone here at Ikonick and with DuPont who have helped get this cleaned and tidied, ready for the adventure ahead. It's not perfect, but it's enough for now, because obviously when it gets to the other side, it will be a little bit messy anyway, and we'll have to get it fully tidied up. So let us go for the last drive. The last drive on US soil in my GT500. That's kind of crazy. I talked about it so many times, said goodbye to it for a long time, a few times as well. But we had our main big adventures at the start of last year, came back out in summer on 2 occasions, back out earlier this year, and now we've driven Gumball with it. Crazy times. So let's get on the road and work out what's what, so we're not going to be too late. This is honestly the first time that the GT500 has not consumed as much fuel or gas as I would like it to, because I'm watching that needle and it's not going down, and I need it to go down anyway. We're joining a bit of a highway. We've only got about 20 miles to go. The last 20 miles of driving this car on US tarmac. I mean, I took delivery of it a year and a half ago, had it here in Miami for a week or two, as I said, when we did all of the PPF and went to a few events, then drove it all the way across the country. We visited plenty of YouTubers and collaborated with many people along the way. We did drag races with it, both in Miami and also over in Texas. I took it to the top speed on the dry lake beds with Stradman in Utah, which you can't actually do anymore. So that was quite fun to have been able to tick off, and drove it quite literally from coast to coast, having started here in Florida all the way to California. We went through Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee. We went into Texas, up to Kansas, across through Colorado, then to Utah, Nevada, and California. We transported the car back. It stayed in Miami for a while. Then, as I said, I had a few stops out here in Florida. I'd have loved to have taken it over to Car Week, but with all of the travel restrictions at the time, it was nigh on impossible to be able to make that work. So I had to deal with flying over and flew back. And then obviously at the start of this journey, about a month ago, we transported it up to New York to start the pre-ball rally from the same location that I started my first ever Gumball 3000 back in 2012, Times Square, New York. Drove up to Canada, an adventurous journey, I think it has to be said, as you know, with the wheels that are actually still in the back, because yes, they are going to go home. They are going to be part of a piece of furniture in the garage at home, so I'm certainly not letting them go. We went up, a little bit of a diversion. The car came straight to Toronto, where Young Steels, Ford and Lincoln had basically saved the day. And then from Toronto, it was Gumball. Down from Toronto to the Indy 500, having gone via Detroit. From there, we went to Nashville. We went onwards to Atlanta, and then down to Miami. We drove it down to Key West. In fact, it's been to Key West twice now, and done 12,250 miles. 12,250 amazing miles, 12,250 smiles for sure, especially with this. It's just such a cool car. You can't buy them in Europe. They're not homologated. So that means that the manufacturer can't directly sell them. So Ford can't, through a UK or European dealer, sell Shelby products, GT350s, GT500s, etc. But you can, as a private individual, import it through the process known as an IVA. And there are a few things that I touched on when we drove down to Key West before that you have to change. So with this car, that means you have to change the lights, because like all American cars, like you see on the X7 up there, that's just stopped, they have red blinkers for the tail lights, so does this, and for the UK they have to be amber, so I had to get something done with the tail lights. The headlights in America, I didn't know this, but they're actually flat beams, so in Europe they have a tilt to them. The left one or the right one, depending which country you're in, has a higher angle to it. Here they're completely flat, so you don't actually have to do very much for the headlights. If anything, I think you can literally just, as they are, all good. I'm still watching for cops. I've got Gumball on my mind. You never know where there might be a sheriff. Keep your eyes peeled. So the headlights are super easy. A few other things, one of which is this sound. While it is tremendous, it's not actually allowed like this in Europe. You're not allowed to be that loud. So for the IVA process, that means it's a little bit complicated, but we'll get to that. Anyway, I have appointed my car import, who actually did the import process for my SLS Black Series 2 and a bit years ago, and I shared that process back at the time. And obviously we'll be covering parts of the process when this car has arrived in the UK. It will get loaded up into a container, it will be transported across the ocean, and it will take, I don't know, it's anywhere between 1 to 2 months. And then it depends obviously when I'm there, when we can go through the process, and then it takes a few weeks at the UK end as well to go through everything. So we have beautiful weather here. Obviously it will not be weather like this when we're unloading it in the UK. I mean, the UK has recently had a heat wave, but we're probably not going to be seeing anything this crazy. And the needle is slowly getting down towards a quarter. It actually has to be under a quarter, but I always aim for an eighth. I think I need to drop a few more gears and do a little bit more of this though, just to get that as low as I possibly can to make sure that we're good for shipping out with 15 miles to go. Yeah, let's see if we can do this. Anyway, it's been an amazing time having it out here. My first car that I bought in the US, obviously I'd shipped out the Ford GT before, but the first car that I bought here and enjoyed owning here, and it's been phenomenal. We've done so much with it. An American car in America, proper American car, American muscle car. It could not have been better. Many tyres have been burnt and shredded. It's had multiple oil changes along the way because it is a track beast, and I'm looking forward to starting the second life with it. Oh, there's a Cullinan floating on a transporter there. That was funny with the way I could only see the Cullinan up high in the air. Yeah, the start of the next ownership experience with it. It will feel like a brand new car. Even though it's left-hand drive in the UK, you obviously can't get them right-hand drive, but it will feel like owning something brand new and starting all over again with it, and I cannot wait for that. This is basically mission success. We're arriving at our exit of the highway, and the fuel light has just come on. Fuel level low, 50 miles to empty at just under a quarter of a tank. So I'm hoping they're going to tell me that's what it needs to be. It is going to be funny not driving this car surrounded by things like that. Massive pickup with wide wheels lifted, just very America. Maybe a pickup is what I need to have next out here, who knows. For the time being, just burn off a little bit more fuel, enjoy, you know, doing this for the last few times I can, having fun with it. As yeah, we're on the last 2 miles. Another cop. It's the whole like run to Waze and report them all. You get so in the habit of that on Gumball. It's just like report, police, cops, 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 everyone. Oh, nice little jet. Is that a private jet? Is that a plane? I'm not entirely sure. Something flying up there. Hey, hold up a second. This feels really similar to where we were at the end of Gumball. I feel like we might be somewhere really close to that. Like literally, this is where we were with all the cars. That's quite funny, where we just emerged with everybody on the last leg and we're all in the same place. This is probably where I should just keep it in neutral and, you know, pointlessly rev it, hey? It's not pointless. I need to get rid of some gas. Empty the tank. God, it sounds cool. I hope we don't have to completely ruin the sound. I hope we get to keep as much of this as possible. That's where basically my car import do everything. They do the whole thing. You book it, you fill it all in online. I've sent them everything like the title and the bill of sale and my passport and all the other stuff that it needs to import it. They do everything. They have their own test center in the UK, do the whole lot. So, you know, I had a good experience last time, and I'm hoping it's going to go very smoothly with this one. And yeah, just crazy times. You know, it's got in the boot a couple of other things, like the car cover that it came with, the transport blocks, they're in here. Obviously, I'm keeping the transport blocks. Just a few other things to do with the car, being the GT500 track pack. We've got the packaging for the various splitter wickers and other things around it. And everything that it needs to have, really. Everything that comes with the car, everything that's part of the whole experience. So am I right? Is this the right place? I'm not sure. We had a few other turnings. Oh, little tunnel. Window down, leave a bit of space, and just ridiculous. Just so silly, but amazing. I think we are actually in the same place. I think we are actually in exactly the same place. How funny is that? Really quite random. Never have expected that. Sounds cool. Right. Last mile or two. The last 1.3 miles. Oh, wow. Can't believe it's actually time. It's actually time to send this to England. I think we are arriving, yeah, here. This is the shipping partner out here. West Coast Shipping, dream cars delivered worldwide. That is exactly what they are going to be doing. My dream American car being delivered worldwide. So I need to work out where exactly I go in to say hello and to say goodbye to this. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Let's park it out for the moment and go and hopefully get all of this done and hope that the fuel is low enough. I guess that this is it, the end of the road for the American adventure with the GT500, shortly to be taken away, to be loaded, as I said, into a container, and the next time we see it, we'll be in the UK. And that's crazy to think about. Obviously, I've left it here idling away just to burn off a little bit more. I really didn't plan this ahead enough. I should have driven it a touch more yesterday, or just prepared slightly better for it. But it's a cool car. It looks amazing. The grabber lime in the sunshine out here has been spot on. I don't know what it will look like on the overcast British days that it's got ahead of it, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be so cool to have the three Fords together. I talked about this for so long at the start when the GT500 launched, how cool it would be to have the Ford Supercar, the Ford Hot Hatch, and the Ford Muscle Car all together, the ultimate versions of each, the GT, the Heritage RS, and the GT500 carbon fiber track pack. I went for the track pack. It's a big step up over the regular GT500 with the carbon wheels and the carbon wing, but it's so cool. And collectability wise, the trio together, the colors, the red, the green, and the orange, just everything about that is going to be so much fun. I've got some big plans ahead, getting all the cars out for some runs together at some point, perhaps a road trip together as well. But yeah, we'll send it home, stick it up, and then at home it will get registered, it will get set, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. So I guess all that's left for now is for me to go and hand over the keys, drop off the paperwork, and say thank you very much. Thank you to all of you guys for being part of it. Thank you to everyone who's helping me get this car ultimately back on the road, and a big thank you at this point to my friend Jay out here, who's helped me an awful lot with this throughout the entire process, everything from the very start through to now. So yes, the end of the US adventure with the GT500. It won't be long until something else is out here, but for now, that is heading to the Shmuseum. Bring it on. That's it for now. Thank you very much, guys, for your support. As always, it is hugely appreciated. You have no idea, but that's it for now, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers. Off it goes. Trip over. We'll see that again in not too long. Somewhere a very, very, very long way from here.